Hey y'all, it is me, Danny Baby, coming to you live from Denver Community Media. I am joined by a very brilliant guest today. We're going to get into an introduction here in a second, but you know how we do things when we first enter the space. We want to tune into our active listening abilities. We're going to stim it out for a second. Any sound you want to make, any movement you want to give it, let's give it like 15, 30 seconds. Here we go. Pow. Woo. Woo woo.
Let's get it.
I'm so glad you get this.
Oh, you
All
know.
right. So who we joined by? Who am I joined by today? Give us that
It's your girl
introduction.
SS in the building. Sneaker Space OG is the full name, but I love going by SS. I'm not gonna say my government because you know
don't have to.
it's not. Call me
Anything
SS.
business.
Call me SS if you see me in the street. I will answer.
I love this. Amazing. Okay, so I had to talk about something real quick. We always just dive right into things.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna talk about the first time that I saw you and the impression you made on me, and you don't even know this story. So you ready? Because
All right, I'm
here
ready.
we go. So I was invited to a cultural runway event last year, and your fits, but your essence, honey. Like, yes, there was designers, but in the modeling realm or the representation realm, you were fire. You always are a beautiful representation. But the fire of that moment, you had your hair in this dope ass way, the strut, the
Tree
stroll. It was so good. I think you walked for like adult entertainment, maybe. Okay.
Yep, so that's my affiliation.
It was
my
so
brother's friend.
dope to see that. That was the first fashion show I had ever been to.
Oh shit!
Like
okay,
at that
that's
status.
awesome.
And then the next year, I've walked a couple times for them now. So I'm like, ooh, look at this, we doing it.
Yes.
So I just had to talk about that from that moment. I was like, I'm kind of one of those people, I fancy myself a collector of humans because I like to collect and
I can
connect.
see that.
And I was like, I'm going to know that person one day. You know, I was sitting with my homie Coco Law, who is an artist with the Rare Birds.
Okay.
Super dope human. I'm going to introduce y'all because you
Yes.
vibe. But anyway, it was just like the most ethereal moment. I never tell anybody it was my birthday. It was my birthday. And it was like the best birthday that I ever had. Seeing all this beautiful representation within the city, like Cultural Runway was the best experience just to witness. I'm shouting them all out, you know,
Yes.
Shanna, Rob, come on. Ooh,
Go
ooh.
ahead, Rob,
You know, out here doing it. But that was like one of the coolest experiences, and just to see how connected the community was in that moment. So to speak to connection, talk to me about what it is that has you staying in connection with yourself via your community.
I think I'm nothing without my community.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met some dope people in Denver. Like, Denver's environment, despite what everybody says, like, oh, we can't dress, or we don't have a nightlife, or we don't have any culture here. You haven't lived here.
Right.
You haven't lived here long enough, or you haven't met the right people.
Or you haven't gone into a little bit of history with some of the actual people that
Oh,
have
yeah.
witnessed things change.
Facts. Because I've been here from born to now. And I've seen, we didn't have In and Out.
Right.
We didn't have the things we didn't have a Gucci store. We didn't have a Louis Vuitton store in probably till 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Well,
know
I
we
mean,
had one.
Aspen's been our spot.
Okay.
So if you're really connected into like fashion and the industry, you'll see how I was one of the first purchasers for the Louis Vuitton store at
I know
Cherry
that's
Creek.
right. Okay.
I bought a little bracelet. You know, at that time I was probably like 20. You know, just like, oh my God, we got a Louis Vuitton store. What? Like, and, you know, everyone's considered, you know, oh, you're from Colorado. You ride horses? Oh, you snowboard, you ski.
Right.
There is so many different things that we could get involved in Denver. And so that's been like my narrative, like making sure that like when I meet a person and they're not from here, understanding like you have a creativity side to you.
Right.
A lot of people don't know. First Fridays,
Come on.
cracked. And I'm talking about even in high school. When I was in high school, I went to East. Hey, Lolo. Hey, Lolo. Hey. You know what I'm saying? I gotta shout out my East Angels. I went to Metro for college. Like, I have not moved out of the state. And so when people, I read these narratives online, and I'm sitting here like, Colorado is like the white Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're cultured, you know where to find your community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anyone could fit in that space.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what your demographic background is. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody evolves. Everybody is continually evolving. From the time that I went to Metro to now, I've witnessed 3 to 4 different black clubs shut down.
Right. Okay.
Like if you want to talk about Cold Crush, if you want to talk about
Right.
Epernay,
Oh, my
if you want to
God.
talk about Dorchester, if you want to talk about Onyx. And the city is against black people connecting and minorities connecting.
Yes.
We already
definitely
know
ain't
that.
wrong about that.
You know, we already know about that. So for when people say like, why I'm staying here or why I'm so into my community is because I love it, because I've seen the different evolutions. I've seen the different evolvements through multiple different industries, through the weed industry, through the mushroom industry.
Right.
Like psychedelics. I shouldn't say mushrooms, psychedelics. I apologize to all my...
That's all right, because we got lion's mane, too.
I know,
Don't worry
yeah,
about
that's
it,
why
boo.
I said psychedelics.
We good. Language, boo.
Right, for real. So I'm seeing all these industries evolve. I'm seeing Squizzy Taylor have his own club.
I was just going to say that.
Like
Being the Broncos DJ,
seeing
too.
Squizzy go from Cold Crush
Come on.
to DJ to having his own spot, and shout out to everyone who's on the panel with him and opening that spot too, because there's multiple entities that are on that. But mostly I'm proud of my mayor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm proud of everyone else, of course. But to see and witness the evolution that could happen, he hasn't left.
Right.
Of course he'll go visit other states.
Right.
Of course he'll go do things in other communities because he's a community individual. But you don't leave your roots, you know?
Right.
So that's why I'm not leaving.
I
I'll
love
go
this.
visit. I'll go visit. I'll go visit
like
New York.
it.
I'll go visit a couple entities, but I'm not leaving, you know?
Well, to speak to all this growth and just you witnessing all that growth, I always like to ask this question, what would your young version, and you can choose any age, what would your younger version say to you right now?
Oh, my younger version used to date niggas, so I don't know. No, I'm playing. I'm joking. I'm not joking, but I'm joking. To my younger self, I would say, you know, settle down and find a woman.
I love it.
To my younger self, don't lose sight of your talents. I feel like a lot of people hit that 25 mark and get burnt out with their talents. Like, and they give up. They go to corporate America. They release that gift that God gave them. And they let it at their discretion, like, oh, I'll touch base with it. It's a muscle. And you shouldn't, you know, let that muscle go stagnant, because then it's not going to be strong. It's not going to be adaptable. It's not going to be able to be moldable. It's just a loose limb. And so I let that happen. I'll say I used to do graffiti in the city. I used to do oil paints, acrylic. I used to do wheat pasting.
Wheat pasting?
Go up on the wall and you put a little poster.
Oh,
for the
that's what that's
joint.
called? I didn't know
Maybe.
that was. Okay.
I might be a little intoxicated. But
I didn't know what it was called.
that's what I put in my head as.
Okay.
Slight dyslexia. Let's be
Oh, I
transparent.
love this. Okay, my partner does too. So we fully get it.
Dyslexia is my highest neurological concern.
Okay.
Under ADHD and then under PTSD, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah.
Well, I have A, B, C, D, E.
Oh, yeah. D and B?
Oh, wait, we don't do that anymore. You got yourself a lady, didn't you? That's what you went and got.
Yeah. So, you know, still trying to figure that out. But yeah, it was so challenging. It was so challenging to step, like, you get so used to a 9-to-5 paycheck.
Right.
And
There's a dependency that we build on that. You just have to.
So I started in healthcare when I was 16.
Dang.
Yes.
We like,
I was
what
at
was
a
you-
malpractice
You were a male practicing?
Male practice law firm.
I thought you got a lady now.
I know. The sidecars are on my back. But no. So I joined a malpractice law firm when I was 16.
Okay.
It was right across the street from East.
Okay.
And I would scan their legal documents into their interface.
Mm-hmm.
So I would leave school, go over there, scan documents from like, I would say from 3:30 to 6 p.m. every day. And that would be my shoe money.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, my steeds got to come from somewhere.
I
my
know
mom,
that's correct.
you know, my mom will buy, my mom will buy, you know, your mom ain't going to buy every Air Jordan 1 that come out. Or every Air Jordan 11 that come out. You know what I'm saying? So the ones where I'm like, yo, I can't miss this. Like, I got my own money, Mom. Just drive me to the Aurora Mall or drive me to Nike Town when it was on 16th Street. I'm still pissed about that. I want, disclaimer, whoever runs 16th Street's malls, marketing and real estate rentals and leases, you're trash. I'm telling you to your face, you got rid of Uniqlo. You raggedy MFers. I was gonna call y'all some motherfuckers. You know what?
And I'm glad you did.
I was like, I'm gonna still put it in there. But, you know, when I saw Nike Town leave, I'm going on rants. Let me stop.
No, I love it. This is what we do here, okay? We can have 15 conversations within one.
Nike Town leaving Colorado. I think I might have been in college. Maybe freshman year of college it left. And then they put Uniqlo down there. And I'm like, I love a little Uniqlo white tee and the Cause collabs. I got Cause, you know, right here on me.
I'm learning a bunch. I don't even know.
Cause is a Jewish designer out of New York. Or no, he might be from New Jersey. Anyway, he used to steal street signs of fashion houses in New York and put his art in there. Like, he used to break into them bitches. So you know how you have the ad?
Yeah.
Like on the metros or whatever, he would break into them, put Cause dolls, do a spin-off of them, and like, this is how I want the ad to look. So he'll steal it, he'll work on it overnight, and then the next morning he'll go back, break into the spot, and put it back.
Okay.
And that's how he got his fame. And now Cause dolls going for like $20,000.
Jeez.
Yeah, he did action figurines. He was one of the first artists that I bought action figurines from.
I love this.
I know.
See, look at all I'm learning now.
Random facts about me.
No, I love this. I love this.
So I got it tatted probably when I was 22 because I think I got my first Cause doll when I'm 20. It was the companion from and I sold this. When I tell you. Let's really talk about how you lose investments.
Let's talk about it.
I went to the MTV Awards. Crazy. Back in the day.
Okay.
Yes. Because my mom was heavy into music. She had a few industry friends and got a baby miniaturized action figure of the Cause Companion MTV Movies Awards one, like the astronaut
Oh,
one.
yeah.
It was gold. It wasn't solid gold like the one you got at MTV, but you know, it was given to me by one of my mom's friends. And so I think I was 22, had it in the crib. One of my homeboys came to the crib. This was when I was sharing a space with one of my girls that I was with back then. And bought it off me for like $2 That shit goes for $100,000 right now.
How does that feel?
One of my biggest L's. One of my biggest L's. There's been a lot of L's that I've taken, but that one was the biggest.
I feel that. I don't think I have anything of value to that capacity, you know?
I think I spend money on art.
Off a tooth. That fairy bitch would give it back. Be valued.
For real. I need my tooth back. I need my tooth back.
So I'd be just like to hear, like, you know, how you've seen the city change. You've obviously seen a lot of gentrification. We were speaking, like, in the, you know, like moving out certain things where it is putting us in a position of not being seen as fashionable, right? Like, okay, we're going to remove this because Denver just can't keep up. And I think the really cool thing about, again, why I was very drawn to you is it's not just like your style that oozes, it's your essence about how you are in your style. And so just seeing, within the evolution of how Denver, 5 Points, Rhino, all of that has transitioned, the Santa Fe Art District and everything. And just seeing how you are so intertwined with the community, and everything that you wear has a story. Everything's a conversation piece, So let's talk about that hat. You was giving me the DL, and then I was like, you know what? We're gonna save this for the cast.
Oh, this is gonna be a bit emotional. I'll say.
All right. And if you don't want, okay.
No.
Okay. Beautiful.
I'm an open book.
I like it.
A neighborhood focused atelier was a entity under adult entertainment. So that's my brother Pines' brand. I've ever since he's released, it's been going probably 6 years now.
Okay.
I've been a silent supporter. So for the first 2-3 years, I was like, yo, this brand's crazy. Like we finally got something, like out of Denver, like oh, I could wear, and like really, it exudes confidence,
right?
And like if you know Pines,
I don't, but I know the brand.
He is the male version.
Okay.
And I shouldn't say the male version of me, but
I would
say like hand in hand, the confidence level that we both have within our drive for things and our dedication for things is the same. And shout out to Johnny, one of the graphic designers and another curator of the brand that's in partnership with Pines. They made shit shake when everyone told them no. Like, a lot of people don't know that, like, and I'm gonna drop names, fuck it. The Edens, that Denver Central Market, 5 Points, well, quote unquote Rhino, let me not say 5 Points, Rhino, our district. They have a lot of properties over there. They have a ton of properties over there, incubator spaces. And so there's brands like Falsico, there's brands like Be a Good Person over there that are in incubator spaces. Those incubator spaces are not permanent.
Right.
To us.
Right.
Maybe to others.
I've been very curious about
maybe
that.
To others. And I'm going to say that. Maybe to others.
Correct.
They are not tentative. They are permanent. With the sales that adult entertainment was making in 2022, could run circles around certain entities. I'm not going to call out names or, compare price points or anything like that. But the sales that were going on were not at the same operating hours as others. And that caused skepticism between the management organization. And this type of stuff, people really don't talk about, because it's like, oh, it's frowned upon, or, oh, we're not going to be transparent, or it's not good business practices. And nothing against Eden, but it was a blindside. It was 100% blindsided. It hurt my heart. It hurt the community's heart, because that alley has never been as lit.
I went to the farewell party of adult entertainment leaving because I was so sad. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about.
And I mean, that's not like us. No, I shouldn't say us, them. Like I'm a part of it, but I'm not, like, whatever they need, I'm there.
But isn't community being a part? So
exactly.
You're a part of it.
I know, but I also want to give credit where credit's due.
Honor.
Like I've put in hours, but I have not put in hours nearly as much as these individuals. So it's Pines and Johnny's baby, and there is just so much hurt and pain behind that kick out, because it was a kick out.
Yeah,
it was. I don't care what nobody fucking say. I'm gonna say what I want to say.
And I love that. That's why you're here.
If you want to email me about your issues, more than happy to answer those emails back with constructive criticism, because managing a space with creatives, you have to be flexible with creatives.
Absolutely.
And they were not.
No.
And
so
they didn't understand it.
Since you've been in that realm, I see that you're taking on other projects, and now I'm kind of seeing the root of, like, okay, you want to have like a little bit more of like a not maybe a hand in it, but just like more awareness around what's always happening. So you can make your community aware. And I love that. So what is like moving into like something I've seen you starting to do, I would love for you to talk about, but I don't want to I don't want to say it. I want you to say it. So tell me.
So I did start a magazine.
I know that's right.
Self-publication as of the end of last year. So the fourth quarter of last year, I released a magazine called Sovereign Status. And it's a e-magazine. So it's digital and hard copy. So S is a letter, and I guess this is part of my ADHD, a letter that I just love since I was a kid. You know, like drawing it. Like, you know, the S's that you used to draw with like the
you do
English,
the three
lines?
and it's smile.
When I tell you, like,
detention desk
I would draw that throughout, like a whole class period could go, and like my whole textbook would be full with S's. And I was just like, why the fuck do I want, why do I resonate with this so much? So when MySpace came around, there was this sneaker. MySpace. I know, this is a way back story. When MySpace came around, the Galaxy phones came out. I don't know if you
I do remember them Galaxies.
So I did get them at a young, very age. I was the one camping out for them. And my mom at the time camping out for them with me. Not my mom at the time, my mom now. But my mom at that time was camping out with me heavy. Like we would go to Nike Town, we would go to Aurora Mall, we would go to the mall where there's a fountain in it. God, it closed down. It's an old mall. This is throwbacks. Old mall out. I don't know if it's west or northbound, but they had all the Nike releases, like way more than Aurora Mall, way more than Nike Town. Like me and my mom would be like, all right, let's take this 30-minute drive. I guess we're going to get you shoes. So I got them. I got them with the pull tag and everything. Original. Oh, I was ecstatic. So then that same week, I was like, shit, I got to make a MySpace. I'm like, I got to flex.
People need to know.
People need to know that I am the one. I am the true king.
I understand this. I do.
True king. And so I got a MySpace page and I was like, fuck, what incorporates these Galaxy phones, but also incorporates my passion? So I was like, sneaker space.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, there's a space, there's a galaxy, you know, it's vast. So I was like, but there's only one sneaker space. So it's sneaker space OG. So I put the little OG behind it. And I was probably like, what, 14, 15 thinking of this? Like literally brainstorming.
You know?
I had a notebook. And I'm a writer. I've been a writer probably since I was 10. I love to write. Like, honestly, since I could actually figure out a sentence. So maybe even back through third grade, second grade, I had notebooks. I have literally a ton of notebooks at my grandma's crib, at my mom's crib. Like, they're spread out. Because, like, you know, like when you live, my grandma, my mom, and me all used to live together. So there's a pile there from that generation.
Yeah.
Me and my mom and my stepdad living together. There's a pile from that generation. And then me living
all
on my
the
own
versions
as an
of your
adult.
becoming. I love
notebooks. Yeah. So I kept these notebooks and I was like, yo, S just resonates with me. So I did a lot of research in college about the significance of symbology and symbolism within media, within editing, within distribution of publications. And I studied Nike. I studied Amazon. And this is all through college. And so I was like, damn, I really hit something on the head with S. So SS, S symbolism in Hebrew, because, you know, I'm a Messianic Jew. So if you know what that is, I believe in Jesus, but I also practice Judaism.
Okay.
So I hold the Sabbath. I hold Shabbat, of course, you know, Fridays and Saturdays, you know, my day of rest. And I got Hebrew everywhere.
I love this so much.
So King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Of course, like, you know, religion and spirituality is important. So when I started researching S, I was like, oh, my goodness, the symbolism between S and spirituality, because spirituality starts with the S.
Yep.
And how the double entendre from the start of creation to Adam and Eve, the eating of the apple, the S symbolizes that tranquility, the three pillars, the Holy Ghost, everybody knows the three pillars. I ain't gonna go into all that because I drank and I don't want to talk about religion. And talk about the Lord while I'm intoxicated. I know it turned water into wine.
You drunk in the spirit. That's okay. You drunk in the spirit, boo.
Yes, I'm drunk in the spirit. And so when I found out that the S is the 12th letter in Hebrew, there's so many, like 12 divided by what? You get 6.
And that even goes into like
you
astrology,
could go,
apostles, all the things.
Of that. So, if you have a letter that resonates with you, research it.
Absolutely.
Because it's important. It's so important to determine like what's no one's really researching the meaning behind the stuff that they really love.
Well, that's because we get detoured from it. And in our language, it's spell binding because we have to spell it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that you bring up, like what is your interest and what is your practice? Because I grew up in a cult, but I used to study the Greek and Hebrew meanings behind how the King James Version and just language in general. I wanted to know. And the origin of it.
The 12 tribes.
Come on, see? This is fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and then you're even speaking about S's, and I'm like, look at that.
I know. That's what I loved about it. Listen.
You
Hold on, turn the camera view and stand up. Stand up. She made these pants, y'all.
Come on now.
She made these pants with 2 S's.
Bam.
Like what? How can I not say something about that? Like it's all symbolism is so deep. So do you know the Mandela effect?
Absolutely.
I researched the hell out of that.
The latest one was like the whole Fruit of the Loom thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on now.
Come
okay.
on.
But there's so many, and I also feel like just in our own lives, like, did that happen? Did that really happen? Because we have to second guess our own, like, for instance, I too have been diagnosed with PTSD. And so a lot of times I'm like, did these things happen? And yes, they did, because I'm actually having a response to this. And so just to kind of be in that, I have my own little effects, but in the world, as well as culturally, as well as like as things change and versions of ourselves exist or don't exist anymore, we all kind of have that in an essence. But just to give some honor where it's due to you, you're like one of these community members that it's like a gift of being a reminder to people's power. Like, I'm going to remind you of where you came from, where you're at, and where you are going, simply by you showing up, standing in the line waiting for their drops, standing in line to bring about the right representation, to bring about the right awarenesses to your community, So I'm sorry. I just had to step in and say that, because as I was seeing your Denver's starting to make its rounds, and I was like, ooh, I got to see. You were putting up some of my favorite artists that, like, even in this community, I fan human so many people here. I'm like, Denver has some of the dopest fucking people here, the most brilliant artists. But the beautiful thing about them is they're not boastful, and they're also, I don't want to say they're obtainable, but it's obtainable to visit with them or to sit in space with them, but you have made such an impression on me, allowing me to see from your vernacular the things that are important to you in a community that I just want to honor as well. Like, how can I show up? Because of the essence in which you bring that, like, not just an awareness, but also like exposing its greatness in a very brilliant way.
I appreciate that.
Oh, you doing it?
That's how I want it. Like, I'm humbly mean. I'll say a lot of Denver people are humbly mean. Like, they're humble, but like, don't approach me unless
because there's no time to squander.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot the narrative with Denver, like, creatives is that, to be truthful. Like, I'm humbly mean. Don't waste my time. Like, it's not as bad as New York. I'll say that.
I have never been.
No, but I've dealt with some New Yorkers that are like, yo, if I don't know you, or if I don't know your credentials, or have like a CV resume on you, like where I could verify and fact check what you want, like I'm not rocking with you. And the same, it's probably worse in California, I'll say too. Chicago's not, you know, everybody help everybody. And I think that's also like maybe like slightly a down south narrative, you know what I'm saying? Not Chicago's down south, but I think they take some of that narrative, like Mississippi, oh yeah, I'll help you what you need. Memphis, oh yeah, what's up? What do you do? Like, and I've traveled a lot. So it's like, and I have a lot of connections everywhere. And the humbleness from certain individuals to like connect and not even fucking worry about like what your connections are past their connection.
Right.
And just honored is always down south mentality. But Denver's humbly mean, where it's like, I gotta know you in order to like understand you and accept you. And I think I have a part of that, but I'm also just like humble and ready to like do whatever. You know, like open arms, open door. But then there's the aspect where like, oh, when then money's involved, then it's the crab barrel issue here. It's the crab barrel with like, oh, if they're doing it, well,
the artist economy is a struggle here.
It's a struggle,
you know. And I see what you're doing.
Collaboration,
right?
There's no collaboration.
Like, I don't want to make money off my community. I want to make money with you.
Yes, and there's so much money here. When I tell you there is billions of dollars, trillions. If they really accounted the economy, the marijuana industry, the shroom industry, us in Oregon, $1 trillion economy.
And yet we still have potholes.
Well, let's not talk about the city and our government. And
I just have to get mad because I almost fucked my car up.
But that's a whole different concept
you
here.
Wrong.
Yeah. I'm like,
we pouring money
voting?
in, but where is
now
it going?
We gotta talk about who's
Absolutely.
Voting. Now we got to talk about who's voting, who's contributing, who's pushing voting. Because you have all these community members and leaders, and they're not talking about voting their districts in. They're not talking about legislation moves. Like the HARE Act. Oh, I was heavy on that. Oh, changing the metabolical panel for minorities against male white men from the 1920s. I don't want to talk about politics.
No, I love it. But see, this is another thing too. These educational purposes and awarenesses, like, it's not something like, for myself, I need to know more within my community. Sure. I vote with like in my city. I'm try to be very aware, and I'm learning a lot constantly. So I've gone to some like city council meetings and stuff just to like start fine tuning like what is out there. But it's like, for what you're doing on top of like, let's create an artist economy, but also this is other reasons why we need awareness as to where our votes, our money, and our time and our interests are going. And that's what to get back to.
Yes.
Fuck them potholes.
I would say, no, but it does, but no, it does take into account, because say you are an entrepreneur and you're tire pops. Where's that money come from? That unexpected expense could set you back 3 months.
Literally in that position right now, but not a tire situation. but
you know,
I get it.
Like these unexpected expenses that could have been preventable. So I'm proactive instead of reactive. Ooh. And so
wait, can you say that one more again? Right into that camera.
I am proactive instead of reactive.
Thank you.
I will make like, and it's the quality background in me. So my education is healthcare management, healthcare quality. And there's a lot of things from my educational background that I bring into my personal life. So there's this book called The Checklist by, I don't want to be prejudiced, but he's an Indian individual. I want to say it starts with an M or a B, but it's the checklist mentality and narrative. Live your life by checklists. If you could do it in 5 minutes, you could do it. So put it on the checklist. Okay, let's make sure that we get to the end goal and be proactive to prevent kinesthetic action.
Right.
And so when I learned that in college, I was like, oh, I got to take this everywhere with me. Like, this is he had a checklist for his wife. He had a checklist for his kids, his weekends, and also his job. And each day, I'm checking those off, and it feels like, oh, I'm accomplishing something. Like, it's an end goal. So when I started living my life like that, I was like, okay, what around me needs to change?
Right.
What am I seeing that is happening? Why am I seeing diagnosis is delayed 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I seeing that preventative care is not occurring in minorities
Mm-hmm.
at the same rate as our counterparts in our
Mm-hmm.
majorities? And when I did the research and the data for it, it was alarming.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that the data was from 1929 from a white physician
Mm-hmm.
that, wrote the book on it, wrote the book on metabolical panels. And so metabolical panels test for diabetes, heart failure, all of these diseases that are deadly, that cut your life in half. Cancers. You're not checking cancers fast enough because you're not running it as the BMI of a black person.
Correct.
To compare to our majority counterparts. So I was like, oh, the system's really working against us. And how do we change that? How do we have the healthcare providers with the majority of our counterparts? How do we change that narrative? How do we make sure that quality is occurring for any individual? And it's not. In America, it's not happening. In Japan, they have urinals that test your urine.
Are you serious?
Their healthcare system is so evolved. It's crazy. So you urinate, you could be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Right there.
And be like, you need to go see a doctor based off of your urine analysis.
Wow.
And, Colorado's very advanced in our healthcare. We have great facilities. We have great workers. But a lot of people don't understand COVID made a lot of second victims. And second victims are us in healthcare. Second victims are nurses, are physicians. The mistakes that are made should not be punitive. You're human. Human error occurs. You didn't make that. You're not the machine. You're not the computer.
Right.
Now, if the computer makes an error, that's a system error. But your human error is much more understanding than a system error. System errors, all right, we adapt, we evolve. Let's figure out what the error occurred. Human error, how do you explain that?
Right.
A physician that isn't diagnosed with dyslexia could possibly have a dyslexic moment.
Correct. Right.
And two medications could look the same.
That's so wild. So again, bringing all of this awareness in, though, that's how I'm saying how connected you are to the community.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really brilliant. Again, just bringing in that knowledge, And because there's one thing, like for myself, I am like a Rolodex of information. And so sometimes I don't have, or I'll get, like, I like to question everything multiple times.
Yeah.
And just being in a community that advocates to maintain awareness and grow in that awareness is so important for like neuro folks like me, because that consistency is key. It helps me to continue showing up, hitting the checklist on our humanity. What are we doing for our community? What am I doing for myself to make myself stronger for this community, with this community? And so that's just brilliant. So as you're sitting here with all of this amazing conversation that you've given me, is there anything that we could, is there anything within Colorado that we could do as a community that could further support you, or is there support that we can bring in to kind of highlight and continue building awareness around? Is there ways we can do that?
I mean, awareness around, I haven't really developed a pathway for my health literacy portion that I have that I'm passionate about, because I mean, my 9 to 5 is that.
Right.
I think more or less supporting me as an individual by sovereign status. Tell me if I'm a trash writer.
Okay.
I love to hear that.
Okay.
Critique my layouts because I think of sovereign status as an art piece, like a multimedia art piece.
Okay.
That you could have in your home, that could be presented on your coffee table, that could be presented in a frame. Like I want people to take passion in the magazine as like this is something that I could obtain. So like self-publication, this is a whole nother narrative. The reason why I got into sovereign status and self-publication is because of the Black Panther excerpts that were happening. My great-great-grandfather was a part of the Black Panther Party here.
Okay.
And my grandma, she was a soldier too.
Goosebumps.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Royalty.
We had a
said.
chapter. Now, mind you, this is the Ku Klux Klan capital of the United States, Colorado Springs. They went through extreme challenges. My grandmother still has notebooks, still has passages. And so as a kid, she shared those with me. Like she had this trunk, this old ass, big ass military trunk. So my great grandfather was in Vietnam.
Okay.
He's a soldier and one of the first Black firefighters here.
Wow.
So my lineage goes back, I would say, 8 generations here.
Okay.
We came from Virginia on a wagon.
Oh my God.
So the slave master in Virginia gave my great grandmother her freedom papers and gave her a horse in a horseback wagon. And she came here with her and her daughter. She came here, she wanted to settle because it was unsettled land. And built a house in Park Hill, bare hands.
He's talking grandma.
Yeah, I know. Great grandpa and great grandma. Great greats, like
Wow,
7-time greats. And so if you know the Rusonian in 5 Points.
Okay.
So have you been to Coffee at the Point?
I have, yeah.
So literally that building that's shaped like a point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blown right now.
So then across the street is Deep Walk Water.
Okay.
The ex-servicemen's club was there, and that was my great uncle, Benny Hooper.
Okay.
So if you know, there's a residency on 5 Points called the Hooper.
Okay.
And it's an apartment complex. And if you go in there, my great uncle's pictures in
This
there.
is so dope. Oh
And
my
on
God.
Deep Rock Water's side, there's those like pasted up pictures from like back in the day, 5 Point images. There's probably graffiti on some of them now. But my great aunt and my great uncle are in one of those pictures. And so the ex-servicemen's club was for Black individuals, Black servicemen at that time, that were traveling here on the way to and from one of their bases, could stay there, gamble, drink. It was the first Black hotel in Colorado.
Okay.
Back then.
This is so dope.
I still have my grandma still has his card, the ex-servicemen's club. There's a copy of it at the Hooper on Welton too. So if you're ever driving down Welton and you see the Hooper,
I'm going to have to go
that's our spot.
Okay.
So my ex-stepfather was a part of designing that hotel and making sure that our family's name kept the legacy. And that's one of the things that I could say I could thank him for. Making sure that he was invested in my mom and making sure he was invested in our lineage and keeping that input in 5 Points is amazing. There's a couple people that were part of that organization too, that I will thank. But the Rusonian and that side of Welton is all them.
Okay.
I shouldn't say us now. I should say my mom and all that.
Yeah.
I don't have any ownership stake in it. But yeah, like that's my lineage. That's my history. My great third or fourth great was the first Black girl at East. Wow. Went to school with Pam Grier. Yeah. A lot of people don't know Pam Grier graduated.
Oh, I do know Pam. Okay, come on.
Foxy Brown.
Come
Let me tell you.
on.
So my
Talking
lineage
Kit
that's where my passion comes from.
Okay.
Because my lineage runs super deep here.
This
They was all the
beautiful.
major players and parlayers, as I like to say, that back in the day, like Billie Holiday was coming to the Rusonian. You had the greats.
God,
James Baldwin came to the Rusonian. Like there is so many there's so many pictures. That was like the jazz. It's the Harlem of the West. And so I know all about that.
That's so wild.
I
friend.
know the
We're gonna have to
history.
do a whole
I
other
know.
episode about this.
I know
This
that's
is
a sidetrack.
crazy.
So,
No,
yeah.
that's not a sidetrack. This is your essence, and I like knowing
And
about
so
it. But wild.
when everyone knows where like my steez comes from and like my confidence comes from, is because like I know the city.
I
like
know
the back
where
of
I'm from.
I know where I'm from, and I know where I'm going, and I know where we've been. I know what we could do, what we've accomplished. It's like the ex-servicemen's club, seeing pictures of that, like my grandma working in there as a kid.
Yeah.
Like giving folks, like, little, what's the little chips? She was handing out chips.
This is so wild. And so speaking about your grandmother as a young person, now we have to go to this. Now that you've said all these beautiful things, not even recognizing the honor you're giving yourself or your lineage, what is something that you would say to your younger version now after this whole conversation?
I would say be proud.
Yeah.
I would say be proud of where you've come from, and also don't push yourself so hard. Like, like with the lineage, I feel like you have to live up to an expectation.
Right.
And if you don't, you feel like you've let everyone down, or you've let yourself down. And like, my mom is super accomplished. My sister is way more accomplished than me.
But we don't want to
And she's the
compare. We
younger.
want to give
I
honor.
know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
it's
just
hard.
don't
Yeah.
hold the pressure to yourself.
Right.
Like, let it out. Don't
Speed down. Slow up.
Slow down. You have plenty of time. You could be Oprah. You guys are Aquariuses together.
You be an Aquarius,
Yes,
baby.
yeah, I'm an Aquarius.
That's why you felt familiar. My sister is too. I get it. And y'all have the best sense of, you have the best sense of humor, but it's uniquely yours.
Yeah.
And that's why I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
We're aliens. That's what I say. I say we're aliens. All of
This
us.
is amazing. So to
Yes.
your younger self, just slow up a little bit.
Yep. Slow up.
Be
Take your
proud.
time. Be proud. You have plenty of time to accomplish everything that you want to accomplish.
I know that's right. So where can we, what is something that you are looking forward to, or an event that you have coming up that we could show support or just awareness around, where we can find you?
So I will be at Vibes in the Park.
Ooh, I love vibes. I love vibes. That's my shit in the summer. Okay.
So I will be at the first Vibes in the Park.
Okay.
Distributing the hard copy of the magazine.
Okay.
So
And what date is that going to be?
that's going to be the 26th of
26th
this month.
of this
May
month.
26th. So
Okay.
if you want a hard copy,
Can I
if you
get a
want to meet
sign?
and greet, oh, of course.
Okay.
What?
I'm going to come in there. I need that.
Yes.
Mark your calendars all. And can you tell us where Vibes in the Park is actually at?
City Park.
I know that's right. It's not around the lake though.
No.
That's
That's
another park portion.
That's in the park. We are going to Vibes in the Park. And Vibes in the Park is kind of where the if you go to the street where the MLK statue is, but if you veer off towards York.
Yeah, it's like York and 22nd, 21st, something like that?
York and
Okay.
21st. So if you go in that entrance or by the tennis courts, you'll definitely see it. If you're by the tennis courts, you'll see the line of parking.
I usually have
get your
to park in the
picnic.
neighborhood because
Right.
and
'Cause
walk.
Everything,
It's gone.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
gone. If you're there late, it's gone. But get your picnics and fits together, as I like to say. Get your charcuteries together and your wine for a little Sunday vibe at Vibes in the Park.
And what time does that run?
Okay, now you.
Is it I think it's 2 to 7 or something like that.
No, I want to say it's not that early. If it's 2 to 7, we.
Maybe it's
partying
4 to 7.
4.
Okay, because then we also
let me
have
look.
Goodness,
I
which
should
is on
not-
rooftop too.
Yup.
I try to hit all
And
the
we
spots.
hit all the spots.
You
that
got
day.
to. Okay.
You right? Okay, hold on. Let
I'm
me
just
look.
trying to remember because
Let me see. Oh, 3 to 7. Okay,
we're
perfect.
good. Okay.
We good.
See?
3 to 7.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get signed copies on the
Shameless plug.
26th.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. It ain't shameless. I have no shame about it. So I will be there. Amazing. And who is are you looking for anybody
let me do
are you
that.
needing any help
Oh,
with that?
I need writers.
Okay.
I need writers out the galore. And
Okay.
if you're passionate about fashion, and you don't even have to have a history. I don't need to know your CV.
Mm-hmm.
If you like writing, hit me up.
Okay.
Because I love doing passages. I'll curate it. I'll make sure the layout's perfect. You don't have to worry about that. But if you're a writer, hit me up.
Okay.
Because we want to get to 100 pages. Right
I
now
love
we're
this.
at 40 pages.
Okay.
42 pages.
And so that's going to also, is that going to be the same what is online and in print. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so the digital copies are more or less for like my hearing impaired individuals.
I love that. Okay.
And it's a verbal
Ooh.
audio.
Okay.
So it'll be a voiceover of me, and of course, hearing impaired capabilities. And the hard copy is more or less for the collectors. So if you have all four, the end of this year, I will be handing out a Cos doll again. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's down low. That's a little tidbit. Little sneak peek,
I'm loving this. Okay.
If you could prove that you have all 4 copies by the end of this year, I will be sending Cos dolls to those individuals.
Okay. Salivating.
I know. I know.
I mean, I barely know anything about the Cos doll, but it's going to have an effect on me. I got issues.
Yeah, you're fine. It's more or less an art piece,
Yeah,
like
it is.
Collective art piece. You don't have to know much about Cos to know that you like his steez, It's just,
I'm going to come through. You already know.
I know
because Vibes in the Park is definitely one of the most electric feelings that you'll gather all week. Like, people look forward to like Fridays. I'm like Sundays. Yeah, that's facts. It's everything. Seeing everybody in their essence, their style. I just like observing the space. It's so beautiful.
I'm 100% biased. Like, when I tell you Vibes in the Park is my favorite event.
I know.
Oh, it's sick. It's sick. They hit the goal with me. I'm telling you, I'll go when they announce. Okay, I'll clear Monday. Monday's virtual. Monday's virtual for me, just so everybody knows, because I'm gonna be outside till probably 10 o'clock at night because I don't want to go home.
I feel that. And it's just quite honestly, it's like the most beautiful representation of community that you will ever witness in this city. Yeah. Bottom line. That's just how I feel about it. Just seeing everybody, but nobody, it's like not like a work time. It's like, come together. We're all here to celebrate one another and each other and ourselves. So let's do it.
We're kicking it. We're dancing and we're enjoying just outside. Yeah. Just being outside in the fresh air. Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, I can't.
I got my fit together.
I know. We already did that premeditation pod milk.
Yeah, this is
I'm here for it. All right. So if anybody wants to submit some writing, where can they find that, or where can they reach out to you?
Sovereign Status LLC at gmail.com.
You heard it here.
Or Sovereign Status on Instagram.
Perfect. And they do respond. Come on, that's how.
Yes,
I didn't think I'd get their attention. Here we are. Okay. All right, y'all. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
We got to just share a beautiful space, a little bit of neural brain activity. It was wonderful. And I got to hear so much more of your story, which is just like, I'm a little bit like fan humaning and in awe right now. I'm sweating a little bit, but that's just how it goes. So thank you so much for sitting here. Again, I always like to reiterate that I'm not here in the purpose of like, I want to encourage people and I want to do that. Again, if the story resonates or this is positive representation that works for you, tune in. If it isn't, then move along. We're not here to yuck anyone's yum. And with that being said, just remember to continue creating earnestly in love. We'll talk soon.